Oh, this is exciting. The suspense is building.
So just stop the game. My advice to umpires is don't yourself get involved.
You know, and we're not here to listen to you carry on. We're not here for you to abuse umpires. G'day guys, Matt Remen here, Inside the Game. We have Matt Wagner here with us today. He is an international experienced Little League umpire and has done most of what you can do in umpiring for kids around Australia and over in America. I've got a tricky question for him today. This one might trip him up, but I'm gonna throw it at him anyway because it's interesting for us. Controversial but interesting. I want to know, how does an experienced umpire like yourself deal with obnoxious or even abusive spectators and people in the crowd? What do you do if they're being obnoxious, if they're being abusive, if they're constantly yelling out and things like that? What do you do about that? How do you approach that?
Yeah, Matt, good question. Really, that spectator isn't the umpire's problem. That's easy to say. In practice, it doesn't work like that sometimes. But under our rules, under our Little League rules, the umpire and the players are there within that field to play baseball or softball. What happens outside the fence is the responsibility of either the ground controller or whoever's looking after that club venue to deal with. And there's a couple of things the umpire can do when somebody oversteps the mark, if you like, or is out of control, perhaps. And the important thing is to keep the kids safe, obviously. But what we can do under the rules is put both teams in the dugout and let whoever know in charge that the game's not going to continue until that problem out there is fixed or goes away.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that happen. That's pretty extreme, isn't it?
It is. It can be extreme.
But I'm glad you've got those powers. Like, what else are you going to do?
My advice to umpires is don't yourself get involved in that situation, because that just brings it into the field, if you like. I had a situation at a state tournament a couple of years ago. The spectators were lined down both sides, and there was one dad sitting right away from everybody else, yelling stuff, and that's probably why he sat there all the time, because people just gravitated away from him. But I was looking after two junior guys umpiring. I was sitting with the scorers, and I couldn't hear him at first, but the first base guy came down and said, listen, this dad or whatever he was down the end here is swearing and carrying on at a couple of calls that I made. I said, okay, no problem, keep going, and I'll go and have a talk to him. So I went over and had a talk to him. I said, mate, the umpires are having a few problems, and you really can't be yelling or swearing at them. Tone it down. That was my first approach. I had another situation in the game, and he couldn't take my advice, if you like, and so I went and had another talk to him. I said, mate, this is your final. I probably shouldn't have given him 2 warnings.
Final warning.
Yeah, that's it. And so he decided a bit later in the game that he couldn't control himself anymore.
God, this is exciting. The suspense is building.
So suspense is building. So I just said to the two guys, I said, put both teams in the dugouts, and I said, okay, just wait in the dugout. I've got to deal with this situation. And I just walked up to him, and I need to do that as calmly and as quietly as possible. I said, mate, I'm sorry, but the game's not going to continue until you leave the venue. We'll just happen to play in a shopping centre next door, and I said to him, mate, go and have a coffee. Come back in a couple of hours, but the game's not going to continue until you go somewhere else. He huffed and puffed, packed up his chair, and he left. But other spectators said to me, that's never happened before. Never seen anyone deal with that before.
Good.
I said, well, we're not going to let these kids, or but these could have been adults as well. You want to try and keep what's happening outside the field. So let someone else, have a quiet word to the scorer. Scorer, can you organise someone on the committee, if you don't have a game controller, and you should, that's the ideal word. Let the game controller say, guys, we're not going to play any longer. We're going to stop the game or pause the game until this problem is moved on. And hopefully mum and dad or whoever it is get the message that we're here for a game, and then the club can deal with that afterwards. I mean, if you have to, and he's not going to stop, just stop the game. The kids are more important than what's happening outside. And, you know, this game turns to be a no game, or turns to be a forfeit, or you start it again later, next week, whatever. Don't let the kids interact with that stuff out there.
No, it's a good thing that I haven't, and many of us probably haven't had to be through that.
And our sport's been lucky where, you know, you'll see every other week on Facebook or somewhere a video of a different sport. And it's happening in our sport as well at different times, but hopefully those instances are less than more. So.
Yeah, and it does. It goes to show, so if we're talking club administrators out there, the importance of having that sort of older, more experienced guiding person there and watching the game around at all times, just so important. And also, I just keep coming back to the fact that we need to just build that culture that is not acceptable. You know, it's not acceptable. We're not here to listen to you and your opinions about the game. All right, it's generally 9 times out of 10, you can guarantee that person's team is losing, you know. And we're not here to listen to you carry on. We're not here for you to abuse umpires. It needs to get to a point where the parents and the rest of the spectators are turning to these guys and saying, that's not on, man. That is not on. You do not talk to the umpires. You do not yell out like that. And it becomes a culture thing.
Yeah.
You know, we need to really build that culture within our game that we do not abuse umpires. We do not yell out. We're here to enjoy the game, and we let them do their job, just like our kids are out there trying to do their job as well.
Absolutely, mate.
That was interesting, Matt. That was very interesting. Have you got anything else to add?
No, that's about it. I mean, there are things within our rules that can help, and how we can manage those situations. And people just need to be prepared to accept that that's the best way to do it, to move forward.
Yeah, very good. Oh, that's good. And that sounds like a good example of a well-handled situation. So those kids were lucky that you were there and watching over them. You know, we need to have that there for these young guys. Well, that's awesome. Thank you very much, Wags. If you guys have got any other suggestions, or if you've got any stories, I'd like to hear some stories of how an umpire dealt with an obnoxious or abusive spectator. That'd be interesting as well. Put them down in the comments, and maybe Wags can chime in on them. Thanks, guys. That's it for today's episode of RBI Australia Inside the Game. Thanks for tuning in. If you picked up something new, make sure to share it with your team or hit replay. We'll be back soon with more tips, drills and insights to help you level up. And hey, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss an episode. Until next time, train smart, play hard and keep growing that game.
Gear up at the store where real ball players shop. Reckon Australia is leading the way in custom baseball and softball gloves. Pick your colours, web style, size, and even add your name. Made just how you want it. You can customise leg guards and elbow guards too. Trusted by players, coaches and clubs across the country. Shop custom. Shop online. Start now at reckon.com.au.